going to be talking comics the week of September 19, 2018. Lots of cool stuff I read. I'm going to kick it off by talking about all the number ones. So the main book, the first book I'm going to talk about is the infamous Batman Damned. So this book came out. It's written by Brian Azzarello, art by Lee Bermejo, and it is very interesting. So this book made the news because this is the very first appearance of Batman's penis in comics. Now, some people can think that's a little bit silly, and it was actually making the news. I saw Stephen Colbert was talking about it and making fun of it, and it is everywhere. Fanboys on the internet are geeking out over it, evaluating Batman's penis, the size and girth of it. Very ridiculous. Without further ado, I'm going to show it now on the my video here. It's sort of not safe for work, but I mean, it's a picture, it's a drawing, it's fine. So without further ado, here it is. And that is Batman's penis. So what is interesting about this is that in the digital edition, they actually took the penis out. And in the print edition, the very first printing will have the penis in. But DC has decided in all subsequent printings of this storyline, and if they do a second printing or third printing, they are not going to include the penis in this, which is funny. So if you're one of the lucky people that actually own the print edition with the penis in it, you now have a collector's item. All right, let's move past that and talk about the actual book now. So the storyline in this is out of continuity, and this is on DC's new Black Label, so it's like very mature and for adults. It's supposed to be like DC on HBO, what they were going for with this. So it's out of continuity, and in this storyline, the Joker is dead, and we don't know who did it. Batman's not even so sure if he did it or if somebody else did it, and he's sort of trying to figure that out. And John Constantine is in this, as well as Deadman and a few other of those like supernatural type figures. So the storyline is not that great, to be honest. Brian Azzarello's writing it like very poem like. There's lots of like riddles. He's not very clear about what he's saying. It's the writing is not, it's very messy and not so good, but the art is gorgeous. And I say that a lot, but I think the art is really next level in this. It is beautiful. It is like nothing I've ever really seen in comics. I've never seen like this type of coloring and this type of realism. It is just beautiful, beautiful art. So if I had to give a score to this book, I would give the writing a 5 and the art a 10 out of 10. Averaging that together, I would give this book a 7.5 out of 10. It is really worth it for the art. In print edition, it comes in a very nice, different style printing, more prestige printing. So it's definitely worth getting on print. And also, if you want to see Batman's penis, definitely check this out as well. Next, number one coming out of Infinity Wars is Infinity Wars Soldier Supreme number 1, written by Jerry Duggan. So I did not like where Infinity Wars is going. Gamora has all the Infinity Stones, and she has used that to alter reality and all of a sudden merge various superheroes. And this book is about Captain America being merged with the Sorcerer Supreme, creating thus Soldier Supreme. And so with this, it kind of tells the new origin of Soldier Supreme, going back to the World War II days of when Captain America was created, although in this time, Soldier Supreme was created. And then we go through World War II with Soldier Supreme using his magic, as well as sort of using some Captain America-esque things to win the war. And instead of Bucky, it's Wong, and as his sidekick. And yeah, and this book was, I didn't really like it. I don't like this storyline at all with Infinity Wars and where they're going with it. And I didn't really much think that this book is completely unnecessary and unneeded. I did think it was funny seeing the cover image and the two of them combined together, and Captain America with the different mustache. But no, I didn't dig this book. I would give it a 6 out of 10. Return of Wolverine #1, written by Charles Soule, art by Steve McNiven. The art is gorgeous in this. Let me just say that off right from the beginning. But let's talk about the story. So Wolverine has been dead in the Marvel Universe for a few years now, and Marvel has been slowly bringing him back. And now we are finally at the mini-series where they will hopefully explain how Wolverine has came back from the dead, and they will now reintroduce him into the Marvel Universe properly, and we can start getting Wolverine into regular books, which is definitely something I want. I never thought they should have killed off Wolverine, so I'm excited that they're finally bringing him back. But this issue was not the most exciting for me. I didn't really dig it too much. So Wolverine is, once again, his memory is hazy, like he was. His memory was hazy in previous storylines back in the day, and I don't really want Wolverine to be going back to that where he doesn't remember stuff about his past. In fact, in this book, he doesn't even remember his name is Wolverine or much of anything, so I'm not really digging that. There's this new villain, Paraphone, which we were introduced in an issue recently, and her storyline is going to tie into what's going on with Wolverine. But this issue, because Wolverine's memory is hazy, it's kind of told in like a jumbled kind of order. We're sort of experiencing the story the same way Wolverine is experiencing it, and his memories are kind of all over the place. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes in the future, but I didn't love it per se, but I definitely want to see the storyline progress. I would give it a 7 out of 10. Right now I'm going over to DC. I'm going to start off with Batman 55 by Tom King. So in this one, it's with the villain KG Beast. He's a villain that's not used very much, so I'm excited to see him thrown into this issue. So a lot of it is Batman and Nightwing kind of hanging out, and Nightwing is being really annoying as hell in this. The writing of Nightwing is a little out of character for me, but nevertheless, it's fine. So KG Beast is coming to America, and he buys a rifle, and then he's setting up in like an apartment building, and he's aiming a sniper rifle, and meanwhile, Batman and Nightwing are solving some sort of case. And then I'm going to give a spoiler alert right here, because I'm going to spoil something big that happens, so just skip my Batman review if you don't want to know what happens. Okay. So Batman and Nightwing are on the rooftop talking to Jim Gordon, and then all of a sudden, KG Beast fires a sniper rifle and hits Nightwing in the head. What? Is Nightwing dead? I haven't been following the news. I don't know where they're going to go with this. But he looks like he got shot right in the head, and explosions were coming of his brain or something. So, yeah, I mean, I gotta know what happens now. This book was, actually, it was only kind of okay, but with the gut punch of an ending, it all of a sudden made it more exciting to me. I would give this a 7 out of 10. Can't wait to read what happens. All right, the next book I'm going to talk about is my pick of the week, Mr. Miracle #11. This is by Tom King. Tom King wrote the Batman book I just also reviewed. So Tom King is killing it. So in this issue, Mr. Miracle and Barda are confronting Darkseid, and they have their kid, and Darkseid wants the kid, and they're meeting to maybe negotiate terms, give the kid over. And in the end, Mr. Miracle kind of swarms his way out of the situation and ends up sort of looking like he kills Darkseid. And then all of a sudden, I believe Metron shows up and makes things all the more complicated going into next issue. To be honest, it's a little hard to follow what's going on and what the rules are and everything. It's a little confusing, but I'm still loving it. I still think it's really great. It's kind of like an experimental storyline, and it's also paying homage to comics past with the 9-panel grid type storytelling reminiscent of Watchmen. The artwork is very interesting. It's not like a lot of other books. Very experimental there as well. This book is just a fascinating attempt of Tom King doing something here and throwing Darkseid in the mix and taking Mr. Miracle, who's kind of not an A-list superhero. He's maybe a B or C list, so it's always interesting when they take these lower-tiered heroes and do something interesting with them. And this is the penultimate issue, meaning the second last issue in this 12-issue run. So going into the 12th issue, going to be very interesting to see what Tom King does with it. I would give this book an 8.5 out of 10. Justice League number 8. This one is written by James Tynion IV. This one also has the Justice League crossed out and it says Legion of Doom. They've done this once before in this run. So this story is more centered on the villains in the Legion of Doom. So it's kind of still very avant-garde, and I'm still kind of confused about everything. There's still all this mention of the totality, which I find that whole totality concept to be a little too out there for me. So, Lex Luthor is questioning this evil Batman from the Dark Metal storyline, so from an alternate universe. And this, he's kind of like a heavy metal, gothy type Batman, and he's evil. So Lex Luthor is questioning him, and this evil Batman says that the real villain, or whoever behind all this totality and whatever all this nonsense is this person named Perpetua. And we don't know much more than that on that. Going somewhere else, we got Cheetah and Black Manta fighting a whole bunch of people. And Cheetah apparently has something in her claws that now let her kill gods or something. And she fights Poseidon, the god of the sea. And she appears to have killed him. And yep, that's what happens there. And then we move on to Batman and Martian Manhunter. Batman is sitting in what I think is Metron's chair or something else. I don't know what's going on. And him and Martian Manhunter are talking and setting stuff up for future issues. So yeah, once again, I don't know what's going on. I'm on the fence if I like it or not, but I'm going to keep reading it. 6.5 out of 10 is what I would give this book. Let's move on to the next one. Aquaman number 40, written by Dan Abnett. This is the end of the Sync Atlantis storyline that has been crossing over with Suicide Squad. Before I get into the review, I want to show the variant covers. I think they are really pretty looking. Beautiful. So going into the storyline is not the best. I was really digging the Sync Atlantis story up until now, but I felt like this book maybe wasn't the greatest conclusion. It felt kind of rushed, kind of forced, kind of quick, and I didn't really like that. Also, one thing I did like is Mira confronting Amanda Waller and them discussing things, and then Amanda Waller using her politics to sort of save herself from the situation and put the blame on this other politician. That was kind of interesting. The artwork in this I didn't think was the best, or at least I'm comparing it to the Suicide Squad books that this has been crossing over with, and I found myself more drawn to the Suicide Squad style art than the one in Aquaman here. But nevertheless, this was an okay issue. I would give it a 7 out of 10, and I'm going to be curious to see where they go with Aquaman past the storyline now. Pearl number 2 by Brian Michael Bendis. I'm going to keep this review short. I didn't love the first issue. I didn't dig the art, and I wasn't too in love with the storyline, but I decided to give issue 2 a chance, see if it can change my mind, and it did not. I still found the same problems with it. Not loving the art style, this very kind of avant-garde style of art, and the storyline just doesn't really do it for me. I would give this a 6.5 out of 10. Immortal Hulk number 6. Hulk is one of the best books Marvel is putting out right now, and this issue continues the greatness of Bruce Banner, Hulk kind of just being a monster on the run, and this issue ends with the Avengers sort of confronting Hulk, and next issue is going to be their epic battle. This book is sick, the art is awesome, everyone should be reading it. 8 out of 10. Venom number 6 by Donny Cates and art by Ryan Stegman. The art in this is sick. Ryan Stegman is drawing Venom in all these crazy situations. This one page where Venom has all these guns on him. Oh, it looks so cool. So the storyline in this is a little crazy, and what they're doing with Venom is a little out there right now, but I'm still digging it. So there's this like symbiote Venom god or whatever, and he's coming to attack Venom, and and this is sort of their epic battle, and it's drawn really sick, and I can't wait for the next issue. This is just a great book. I would give this an 8 out of 10. Avengers number 8 by Jason Aaron. I haven't been reading this book, so I'm kind of just jumping in right now. I also haven't been reading much about this new Ghost Rider that's around, and it's kind of this young kid, and he's driving like a Corvette or a convertible rather than the typical Ghost Rider motorcycle. But whatever, I'm just giving some context for this review. So in this issue, they're kind of resetting up the Avengers, and now their headquarters is in the Arctic, which is interesting. So there's new Ghost Riders on the team, as well as a few other people. And this book is all about the sort of Avengers bureaucracy, and I love that. I love superhero bureaucracy and them just, discussing business and stuff like that. And I love the banter between all the heroes in this, and just sometimes you don't have to have fighting in comic books. Just the discussion is really interesting to me when people are just talking amongst themselves. This issue ends setting up Namor, the guy from Atlantis in the Marvel Universe. So Namor is, I guess, going to cause some problems for the future issues. I thought Namor looked very weird. It's kind of like a younger Namor, and he's sort of more like punk emo or something. That was weird. But I thought this was okay. I'm going to read the next issue. I would give this a 7 out of 10. West Coast Avengers number 2 by Kelly Thompson. This book is trying to be really funny, and sometimes it succeeds, and sometimes it falls flat. So in this one, they were fighting a giant Tigra girl, and she sort of disappears into the ocean after a while. And then there's this new character, Brodok, and he's kind of like that Marvel villain MODOK. I think I'm getting that right. So this Brodok, they're hanging out with him, trying to find out more about him, and a whole bunch of stuff happens. One thing I did like is Gwenpool and Quentin Quire are having this sort of romantic relationship blossom between them, maybe, but they kind of hate each other, but they're kind of into each other. So I'm kind of interesting to see where that goes. But overall, I thought this book was just kind of flat, and I wasn't too into it. But yeah, I would give this a 6.5 out of 10. Mr. and Mrs. X number 3. I've been liking this book so far. It's been pretty funny, kind of interesting. So this is about Rogue and Gambit, and they just got married, and they're on their honeymoon, and all of a sudden, there's this emergency in space, and they come across this space egg, and Deadpool gets thrown into the mix, and it's been pretty funny. Now, last issue, this mysterious space egg hatched, and all of a sudden, there's a rogue. A rogue just pops out of the egg, and all of a sudden there's 2 rogues, and we don't know why. And that was a pretty exciting cliffhanger last issue. So in this issue, it gets explained what it was. So it turns out the egg is the genetically all-engineered child of Professor Xavier and Leandra Niramini, the former magistrates of the Shi'ar Empire, both believed deceased at the time of its creation. So this person has some abilities. This egg creature has some sort of abilities as Charles Xavier, and it was able to sort of create its own appearance and make it look like Rogue. And the reason why it chose Rogue is because it was protecting itself by choosing a familiar figure in its surroundings. And that's the explanation for the egg. And then it turns out the creature can sort of change its shape, so it reveals its real shape as a girl named Xandra, and she's the genetically altered child of Xavier and this other person in the Shi'ar Empire. Whew! So that's the explanation, and I thought that was a little crazy for me. Comic books, man, sometimes they're out there. And yeah, so there's lots of fighting going on with, I guess, this Shi'ar Empire is trying to get this love child back, and Rogue and Gambit are trying to, keep this person safe. And then Rogue eventually sends Deadpool away, which I thought Deadpool was one of the best things in this book, so it's kind of sad to see him go. But yeah, this book is kind of losing me. It's kind of a little out there. So yeah, I would give this a 6.5 out of 10. Next book I'm looking at is Multiple Man number 4. This book is really bonkers, kind of in a good way, but it is hard to follow exactly what's going on. So Jamie Madrox has all these duplicates of himself, and they are all in all these various different alternate universes and timelines, and they jump to like 5 or 6 or 7 of these different timelines and worlds in this issue, and then it's really hard to keep track of who's who, what's what. Oh, so crazy. Kind of funny though. One thing funny is that Beast keeps lecturing Jamie Madrox in that he's messing with the time stream, and he's like, you realize what you're doing here? And Jamie Madrox is totally messing with the time stream and making a mess of it. So yeah, I thought this was kind of a fun issue. I want to see where the last issue goes of this mini series. Yeah, I'll give this a 7 out of 10. That is the last comic I'm going to review this week. In a little bit, I'm going to show a recap of all the scores I gave this week. But before I do that, please like and subscribe. I post movie reviews, and I try to post these weekly comic review recaps every Saturday or Sunday. And once again, thank you for watching.